If you are interested in a healthy budget grocery haul challenge, feel free to watch this video. I'm going to share with you what we ate last week for 7 days, 2 adults, based in Australia. It's reasonably healthy and it's also gluten-free. Hello friends, and a very warm welcome back to Simple Essentials. If you are new here, my name is Emmy, and in this channel we cover all sorts of things around simplifying your life, whether that be through health, well-being, budgeting, all sorts of things like that. So if you like that kind of stuff, feel free to hit the subscribe button below. We'd love to have you as part of the Simple Essentials family. In this week's video, I'm actually going to split it into 3 separate videos because firstly, I'm going to talk you through the grocery budget challenge that I set myself this week. In the next 2 videos, I'm going to share with you all the recipes that I cooked. So if you need some inspiration and things like that, that will be coming up very soon. But I wanted to chat to you firstly about the reason behind doing a grocery budget challenge. It's pretty obvious that food is pretty central in most of our lives, whether we love cooking or not. We need to eat, and if you're anything like our family, we like to splurge sometimes and go out and have pizzas and have a bit of junk food every now and then. But most of the time we do try to eat pretty healthy, and it can be pretty tricky to eat healthy on a budget. We are not vegetarian in our family, but we are trying to eat vegetarian food probably about 60% of the time or so. And I quite like vegetarian food. I'm not a chef and I've learned a lot about cooking healthy recipes, and I'm going to link all the recipes that I cook in the upcoming videos in the description boxes as well, so you can get some inspiration from the beautiful channels here on YouTube that inspired me to start cooking a little bit more a few years ago. So firstly, why would you do a grocery haul budget challenge? Well, I have found that we spend a fair bit of food in the grocery store, and hand on heart, I did a grocery haul a little while back that you guys loved, so I'll link that up here if you want to watch that if you haven't seen it yet. But what I did find is that most weeks we probably spend between $100 and $120 on groceries. We try to only go grocery shopping once a week, but every now and then you need to go and get some top-up things throughout the week. And when I was looking at our budget, because I track it every month, I started to notice that our grocery budget kept creeping up. So this week I thought, why don't I cut that in half and see if I can cook healthy, nutritious recipes for lunch, dinner, and snacks. We are not big breakfast people in our family. We normally do intermittent fasting or something like that, so we're not huge on breakfast, but I always meal plan for lunch and dinner, or we normally do this together. So I wanted to set myself a challenge for between $50 and $60, and that would be all of our groceries for one whole week for 2 people. And I wanted to make it really realistic. So if you are looking for a really extreme budget grocery haul challenge, this is not the video for you. There are plenty of videos out there on how you can eat for $20 a day, $10 a day, etc. I wanted to do a realistic grocery challenge where I still cut our grocery budget in half, and I'm really proud that I did so whilst eating healthy food. If you are struggling financially, please reach out to community groups, churches, etc. Every single country around the world has some type of support available. So if you are struggling with food insecurity or financial issues at the moment, make sure that you look up, just hop on Google and look for food banks or different types of support that you can get in your community, because everyone deserves to have a healthy, hearty diet and to be looked after. So once I had set my budget being $50 to $60 at the grocery store, I had to decide where to go. And here in Australia, if you're watching from another country, we have 3 kind of main supermarkets in Australia. We have Woolworths, we have Coles, and we have Aldi. I am a huge fan of Aldi, but at some times, especially if you're setting yourself a budget challenge, you can't always buy individual units of things. So like individual carrots or individual onions and things like that at Aldi. So what I decided to do for this challenge with my $50 to $60 is I decided to go to Woolworths, which is one of our biggest groceries chains. It's available in pretty much every major city, and the prices are pretty okay. Not as cheap as Aldi overall, but they do have the home brand things. So I decided to go to Woolworths for this week's challenge. But before I went to the store, obviously I did my meal plan. So there's kind of two different ways to approach a budget grocery challenge. You either make a meal plan ahead of time and then just go and buy the cheapest ingredients and the healthiest ingredients that you can find to fit to your meal plan. The other way you can do it is have some really vague ideas of what you'd like to cook. You go to the store, you go to the market, wherever you get your fruit, veg, your groceries from, and then you look for the best deals and then you create a meal plan based on that. I have found with myself that I go much better if I have a meal plan that I bring to the store with me. So I have like a grocery list already, but I'm flexible with my ingredients. So before I went to the store, I sat down with my partner and did my meal plan based on a couple of recipes that we love and we cook them quite often, and quite a few that we haven't actually made before. So this week we'll be having chickpea salad for lunch Monday and Tuesday. I'm going to show you in the next video how I make that salad. Then for lunch, the remainder of the week, we're going to have tuna pasta bake leftovers. And then I'm going to make a really lovely zucchini oven bake that I'll also show you in upcoming videos. It's one of my favorites that I found here on the internet, a really good recipe for. And on Sunday, we're going to just do eggs on toast, which is really simple. For dinners, we're going to have tuna pasta bake for 2 nights, and that'll make enough for 2 dinners for each of us and also 2 lunches. I'm going to make a sweet potato chili. You can do this in the crock pot, the pressure cooker, or even on the stovetop. I'll show you that recipe as well. It's one of our favorites. We're heading towards winter here in Australia, so it's going to be really nice and nourishing there. And then I'm going to try a new recipe that I haven't made before, which is a taco casserole with rice and minced beef, or any kind of mince really. And we're going to have that for dinner for 2 nights. And then snacks for the week is I'm going to make my own hummus, which I'll also show you how to do. It's super, super simple and very cheap. We're going to have some rice cakes and carrots as our snacks, and also a little bit of fruit. So that is the meal plan. I was flexible with, a couple of things in this meal plan. For example, for the taco casserole, it called for some kind of mince. You can make this with vegetarian. You can skip the meat altogether if you don't want to include that. But basically, I was flexible when I went to the store to look for the cheapest minced beef or minced turkey or minced chicken that I could find. And it just so happens that mince wasn't particularly cheap in Woolworths. I didn't find any discounted meat, etc. So I ended up going for turkey mince, which was the cheapest option. So to cook all of these meals, I'm going to show you here on the screen the grocery haul that I did, and I will also include the total price for this. I will say that it does make a difference that my partner is gluten-free. So the recipes that I've picked this week mostly are gluten-free by nature, but there are 2 recipes where I had to pay a fair bit more. So I'll include the price on the screen if you did this grocery haul gluten-free, which will be more expensive, or if you did it just like a normal budget. So if I was doing this for me, it would be a little bit cheaper, but because my partner is gluten-free, it will cost a little bit more. But not as much more as you think. A few general things that I really want you to think about though when you do these budget challenges is look for the home brand. This is not rocket science, but I'm going to show you here on the screen, for example, with cans of corn. Or I think it was cans of pineapple actually, is look on the label. You would be amazed. So I found a fancier brand and I found the home brand at Woolworths, and you probably have the same if you're in the US or anywhere else if you look at the home brand of the thing. If you look at the ingredient list, which I'll include here for you, it is exactly the same thing in the can, and it's like $2 difference in price per can. It's ridiculous. So make sure that you don't go fancy unless it's a brand that you know and love and you find that the flavor is so amazing that you want to pay that extra bit for it. So do compare it. Home brand is certainly not of worse quality. In very, very many cases with pasta sauce and all sorts of things, they're actually made in the same factory, exactly the same ingredients. The second thing to really look for, especially if you're doing a grocery budget challenge, I got a fair bit of canned goods this week. Look on your ingredients. So for example, when I was buying my corn, I normally actually buy the frozen vegetables. If I have a little bit more money to spend, it's a tiny bit more for a bag of frozen corn per kilo. So make sure you look at the per pound or the per kilo cost when you're comparing what something actually costs. So in this instance, I'll show you on the screen what the difference in price is between the frozen corn and the canned corn. So the canned corn is obviously a little bit cheaper per kilo because I also found corn that was on a pretty good deal. But here's the thing. Look at the label. When you buy frozen veg, it's 100% vegetables. There's nothing else added. On the corn that I was about to buy at the supermarket, I look at the label and you'll see that on this particular one there was sugar added. So make sure if you're trying to be healthy, just look and compare even between the different cans of corn or whatever other thing you're using, beans, etc. Look at the contents. If they have added sugar, it's basically just an unnecessary filler that you don't need in your diet. One thing to consider when you're doing a budget challenge or you're tight on money is to make sure that you build up a little bit of a spice cabinet if you can. For this budget challenge, I'm going to assume that you have some kind of cooking oil and salt and pepper in your household. If you have some additional spices, it's really going to help enhance the flavor of a lot of these recipes. Even if you can't afford to go and buy, for example, basil and parsley and all the different herbs, buy a little spice of, mixed Italian herbs or something like that. Or even if you can afford like a little bag of, chili powder or something like that. It is not as expensive as you think if you buy one spice per week or one spice every couple of weeks, because they last for a long time and they do enhance most recipes immensely. Also, if you are struggling for spices, buy canned goods, or for example, chopped tomatoes and things like that that are already seasoned. It can really help with the flavor of your dishes. And to add even more flavor as well on a really shoestring budget is to get bouillon cubes. Sometimes I will boil rice and pasta and things like that with a bouillon cube in the water. And what that will do is it will actually help enhance the flavor, especially with rice. This can be really, really great. So that is essentially it for the budget grocery challenge. I must say overall, we both really enjoyed the meals that came out of it. It was not hard to stick to this budget. And of course, we moved a couple of things around from my meal plan, which I'll show you again here. All of the dishes turned out really tasty, and we are happy to have the same food for about 2 days in a row, but then we do like to mix it up a little bit. So for example, with the sweet potato chili, we didn't have that 3 days in a row. We actually changed around what nights we ate that. As long as you store it in an airtight container, a really good container in your fridge, it will last for a good few days. So you don't need to eat it all, in the same day or the same 2 days. So I hope you found this inspiring. It is a great way to save money, and I really look forward to seeing you in the next video where we're going to look more at the recipes that I ended up cooking. Have a great week, and I'll chat to you soon.